You know what I'm trying to say?
Sort of. Oh, good. Krusty's on this one. I just want to make sure that goes up. I wanted to make sure it was on the other chat. Sort of. So, like, I think, yeah, and Xennial made a good point in the comments too, saying that our biggest preservative that we use is actually salt, um, which is a natural substance for people that forget, right? Um, it
Which isn't bad for you though.
in high levels it is.
Yeah, anything in high levels, you can drown yourself on water. That's not what I'm trying to say about the preservatives. I'm trying to say like even with small amounts, it's not good. Even with little to none, it's not good because it's not something that naturally should be going in your body. That's what I'm trying to say.
People need salt. Oh, yeah, sorry. I was gonna say people need salt. People actually need salt in order to
No,
live.
yeah, I'm not saying salt. I'm saying the other things that I was referring to, the other like everything that we make artificially.
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to. Or honestly,
No, because
forget
GMOs
forget
exist.
preservatives, forget preservatives, all that. The main issue that I think causes all of the health problems in our country, I feel like, is all the medications that everyone's on. And I understand that there are some necessary medications, some life saving medications, but for every medication you take, there's like four or five, give or take, a few probably side effects. And then you have to take an additional medication to cover one of those side effects, an additional one to cover that other side effect, and so forth. And I feel like it's a constant loop where you just have to keep taking more and more medication to solve the other side effects from the first medication and so forth. And I feel like that is a huge cause for so much health problems, mental issues, everything like that.
No. um no, I disagreed with you. Um sorry. Unfortunately, medication is absolutely necessary. It is what treats people on multiple different things. I personally like I don't mhm, mhm. Sorry. There's so many things. Oh, goodness. Okay. Medication is needed for people on many different ways. Because if you want to complain about side effects, then let's look at the biggest one that everybody thinks that women, well, not everybody, but the majority of women thinks that, or sorry, that think women should be on, right? Is birth control, which has been known since its creation to cause a bunch of a myriad of side effects
Hormonal
that are
imbalances.
just, yeah, a myriad of side effects that are just not good, right?
Mhm.
When they were trying to come up with a male version or a version of birth control but for men, they never put it to market because men complained about having the exact same side effects that women were experiencing, and it was too much for them. But birth control is still on the market for women. Oral birth control, IUDs, still on the market for women, and women are still expected to be on it.
Yeah, and I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
I think birth control of any sort would be wrong, even if they made it for men. I think it's wrong. I think one of our main purposes as humans is to reproduce, and we shouldn't focus so much on living to work, like you said in our conversation earlier, and more on actually living life. And I think one of the greatest joys that any human can experience is the God-given joy of being able to have children. I think everyone, I understand that some people aren't blessed with that ability, but I think everyone that can should do it and should focus more on that than, like you said earlier, living to work.
So, do you support universal health care?
Universal health care, like, do I support? that
Making
everyone should
sure
have
that
health care.
everybody has access to health care from the day that they are born at no cost to the individual.
Well, before I say my stance on that, I the most important thing I would have to say is that's a slippery slope, because once you get into that lane, you start getting really close to communism, which on paper sounds like a great thing, but through history, we have seen that communism just ends up turning into a dictatorship or other terrible things. So that's that's tough.
How about just universal health care for children?
I mean, in an amazing world where like I said, it's not going to end up making communism more of a threat or causing other problems, yeah. But there's just I don't understand all the politics of it that would go into it. How the money would be raised. Um, there's
How
that's a very broad thing that involves so many different
how about mandated
aspects.
paid parental leave?
Mandated paid parental leave.
Yep.
Yeah, I could get behind that, but like I said on the last question, that's also a slippery slope. That's tough. Like, how's the money going to be raised? Things like that.
Can you tell me what is your understanding of communism?
My understanding of communism is that everyone should have everything split down the middle, basically, and yeah, that everyone should have everything, be able to afford, the basic things like food, healthcare, stuff like that. And it's basically sounds like the on paper it sounds like the great thing that everyone should strive for and every country should want it. But like I said, it's been tested time and time again throughout history, and it's never like that. Someone always seizes power. It always
Oh,
turns
so
bad.
that's
So
not communism then.
it's labeled as communism.
Yeah. And guess what? North Korea calls it themselves the Democratic Republic of North
Republic of North
Korea.
Korea.
So
I
is
know,
North Korea democracy?
absolutely not. But like I
Absolutely
said,
not. Yeah. So
no,
just because you call yourself a communist state, that doesn't mean that it is when you're not actually following the socioeconomic guidelines of what communism actually is. So the idea of someone saying that, well, this is a slippery slope, which by the way is a fallacy in and of itself, okay? Um in saying that it's going to lead to communism, while you seem to have a semi decent understanding, semi, and I do mean semi, on the very, oh, thank you, Dakota, for sending out a membership, on like a low level understanding of what communism um, is that's not really what it is, right? And so what you're trying to say then is that it's a slippery slope to lead towards like a dictatorship or an authoritarianism. And because everybody's made communism to be this boogeyman word when it's absolutely not.
um, so am I forgetting about a time where communism actually worked
It's
the way
never
that it was
worked. It's never
designed?
been applied correctly in today's society or like in any society throughout history, right? Because communism would be people living together in totality in peace, right? Just to give a very basic TikTok definition of communism is it's a moneyless, classless, stateless society. So that means there is no money. So money's not a thing. Everyone is equal because there is no class system and there is no government body. This is a utopian idea. It is not something that we will ever see practice in the world. It's never something that we've ever seen previously practiced throughout history either, right? And it would have, in order for that to even work, is it would have to be applied Exactly, Monica. Globally, for the idea of communism to work, everybody would have to be in peace together. Communism is quite literally just a utopian ideology that will never come to fruition because, unfortunately, we're too dumb to get past our own fucking differences,
Right.
right? And I
So
mean this as humans, right? We are
that's what I
too
was trying.
stupid to get past our own differences. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying that about you, I'm saying that about everyone.
yeah, that's what I was trying to
Yeah.
basically say. You said
So
it in more of a linguistic way, a better way, but that's what I was trying to get at earlier is
I
that
said it in more of
it'll
a
never
crass
work.
way. Yeah,
So
no, communism doesn't work, which is why, like, when people throw out communism as being like, well, this is going to lead towards communism, they're throwing it out like it's this boogeyman. When all we have to be honest is that it's a utopian ideology that we're not going to see. That's all you can say. Like, take communism out of your bad word box, right? Bad word, communism. It's in your box. Take it out and just remove it or delete it from your vocabulary. I'm not sure which one you have to do. I actually have a box, so I guess I can do it better. Like this
you don't.
this
So
earring is going to be the representation of communism. Take it out of the box and set it down elsewhere.
it upsets you that the word communism is used too much.
No, it upsets me that it's used
You're
historically
awesome.
incorrectly so many different ways and they say it like it's a boogeyman when it's
Well, I
not.
mean, if we're gonna dive into the words and like phrases that much, then you got to also say that the way that we define right wing and left wing is completely wrong too, because that dates
Oh, the
back to the French
Democratic Party on
Revolution.
the world stage is center right.
I yeah,
It is.
yeah.
On the
I mean,
world
but
stage, it's
but
center right.
right, technically, if we date back to what it was, the terms were actually meant to be historically when they first were, started, both the left and the right side of government weren't good. Like they were both bad.
Right. I
It
mean,
was just different types.
mm-hmm. And guess what? Oh, I don't think he meant to hang up. We'll go through these real quick. Can you describe what you mean when you say universal background checks and how do you reconcile with many red flag laws violating due process? So Bishop, when I'm saying universal background checks, I mean private seller to private owner, right? So the individual performing background checks. I am not going to say that there wouldn't be issues with it because there would inherently be issues of somebody potentially um, incorrectly using the system, right? Or using it in a fraudulent manner. As far as red flag laws violating due process, um, that one I don't know. Then maybe it's something that they would have to go to court to prove, right? I think as it is right now, it's just too open. And that's my issue is like knowing that the man who killed children in Uvalde was already on a list, was already on a watch list, but still walked out with a gun is an issue, right? That means that in some way it could have been prevented. So how do we track individuals that were on a watch list and stop them from buying a gun? I guess would be my question. Um, but are laws you would like to pass the Helen and Bruin standards? That is my concern, as they tend to not. Then let's work up a framework of a law that would fall within there and still do universal background checks, some kind of deep dive into someone that shouldn't be having access to a gun because they've been investigated or they said shit online, right? Like there's gotta be something we can do, right? And also there's like the mental health issue is always going to be a thing because unfortunately they just keep not doing anything about it. So there are so many issues to that we could address, but the problem is they're not addressing any of them. Muy un poquito. And I already put that up there, but thank you again, Dakota. Is how far behind is everything? Thank you, Romeo, for the happy poop. Yes, Paul. It is, unfortunately. It's only about 97% effective, but yes. And thank you again, Romeo, for the Sunday. I wish I could actually see them like popping up. But we're gonna open back up these phone lines. Aw, thank you, Giselle. Gracias. Thank you for calling the MAGA support hotline. Are you there? Hello? Thank you for calling the MAGA support hotline. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. How old are you?
I'm 30.
You're 30. All right. And did you vote? Are you still supporting Trump?
Yeah, I am.
You are. And are you willing and able to accept today that Donald Trump is lying, actively lying to you in his current administration?
No.
No.
No. What's he lying about?
So when Donald Trump says that there is no inflation, but we see that inflation rates that were put out by the Bureau of Labor Statistics under his department head um, shows that we're at a 2.9% inflation. Who's lying?
Inflation has been a skewed number pretty much since COVID. So it's you can't just instantly get into office and stop inflation.
But Donald Trump says that there is no inflation. So who's lying?
I think more or less what's going on is there's a rapid decline in inflation. And that's what he's trying to
There is not,
say.
though. Inflation's going up. Inflation rate was
Inflation was
at
at
2.4% in April, and now we're at 2.9% in August, for August.
okay. What was inflation a year or two ago?
Oh, actually, this time last year, inflation was 2.4%.
Inflation was 7% at one point during Biden's
Inflation, you asked
administration.
about a year ago, not at one point. A year ago, September 2025, inflation was at 2.4%.
But was it not at 6 or 7%?
Yes, in 2022.
Okay. So what's worse, 6 or 7%
Oh, so now
or
it's just what's
2.9?
worse. Got it. So let's try this again. Who was lying when they said that there was no inflation, but the Bureau of Labor Statistics under Donald Trump's acting department head puts out that the inflation rate for August of 2020 was 2.9%. Who's lying?
First of all administrations lie. It's never fully
What do
the
you
truth.
get out of saying that?
Because you're bringing up one statistic.
No, I'm
but
asking you to like explain it, but you're not doing it yet.
explain what?
Who is lying? Donald Trump when he
Everybody.
says that there is no inflation, or the Bureau of Labor Statistics when they say that inflation is at 2.9% for the month of August.
Like I said, all administrations lie.
But who is lying in this instance? Donald Trump or the Bureau of Labor Statistics?
Both.
What is the Bureau of Labor Statistics lying about? Or how did they lie?
You could pull up so many different statistics from so many different time periods and use them to your advantage.
And
I
use
could
them to
find-
my advantage. I'm not even talking about different time
I don't-
periods. I'm talking about
I
the
don't- I
current
don't-
data of
I don't mean-
today.
I don't mean you in particular. I just mean in general. Anybody could pull statistics up and manipulate them to work for you.
What?
You know what I'm saying? And we started out as like a one topic kind of thing, but I'm all in all, I support Trump for so many more reasons than just inflation rates and economy and stuff like that.
Uh-huh. But that wasn't the question that I asked you at the beginning of this, was it?
No.
It was one of the questions, but I specifically asked you, Can you accept that Donald Trump is lying to you? And you said no. So are you able to accept that Donald Trump is lying about the fact that there is no inflation, as he likes to say?
I accept that Donald Trump lies about some things, correct?
About some things. So how
Yeah, there's
about
more than that.
you? Let's try
There's
critical
there's there's
thinking here.
there's more.
Um,
Wait. He's lied to me about more things than that.
tell me 3 other lies that you can think of that he's told in his current administration.
Well, I could tell you one that directly affects me. Um, so I'm a union worker that works a lot of overtime. So one of his selling points of his campaign was no taxation on overtime pay. Are you familiar with that?
Mm-hmm.
So when the bill actually came out, it's really a cracker. I don't know. Am I allowed to curse on this?
I don't care.
Crack as shit, you know? So that was one of his lies. And I don't support any human being that sits there and agrees with everything somebody says is a puppet. But there's a lot of things I do agree upon, on. So all in all together, what you're stating right now is about, did he lie or did he not lie? He may have lied, but that's not to say that I stopped supporting him because he lied about one statistic.
Oh, but I don't think you realize that he lies so much. So many
Okay,
times.
he
So like
he
just
lies.
to give you an idea, what is this doing? Oh, okay. Just like give you one idea to start off with. And I don't like bringing this up too often, but I will point this out that within his first administration, his first 4 years of office, he's recorded at telling over 30,000 lies. So far in his current administration, we can go down a few, right? So we both agree that the no tax on overtime was most assuredly a lie, right? Um,
Partially,
Obama Russia hoax, right?
partially.
That was a lie. Other countries pay for tariffs. That was a lie. He lied about the tax reform. He lied about 7 peace deals and ending 7 wars. He's lying constantly about the job reports and that the economy is doing great. We're creating all of these new jobs. One of the lies that he told was that he would never actually activate the during his campaign is that he would never even think about utilizing the military on American citizens, and yet he's doing it. When he was campaigning, he promised that he was the president of peace, no new wars. He promised that he was going to end the Russia-Ukraine war within 6 months. That hasn't happened.
He actually
Let's
said one
see.
day.
Oh, but in January, before he was inaugurated into office, he upped it to 6 months. Yeah. He also said that he was going to lower the price of groceries, but grocery prices are up 3% year over year, according to the CPI. When he
Mm-hmm.
was campaigning and he was talking about immigration, he said that he was going to primarily go after criminals, like in major crimes. Didn't happen. He's talked about all these trade deals. We don't have any signed trade deals that we can look at. Nothing's signed, nothing's on paper. They're not actual trade deals. He's talked about balancing the budget, except the HR1, the big beautiful bill, it's within the bill tax that it's adding $4.5 trillion to the national debt. He talked about fraud in USAID, but there has been no charges brought up against anybody that worked in USAID. So that would actually prove fraud, because fraud is a felony. It's a federal crime. That's not happening. He said that there's fraud within Congress, yet he's not doing anything to combat it. He's actively speaking out against the Honest Act that was introduced by Josh Hawley, a Republican senator, that he's saying is bad, even though the president of the United States is technically exempt from most of that act. He's lied about assisting and actually ending the war in Gaza, and actually he's talked about basically turning Gaza into a fucking parking lot and making it a Gaza strip mall, basically. He's lying actively about Epstein and the files. He's lying still about E. Jean Carroll. That he's still constantly losing that. He lied and said that the fucking court case about how much he owed money to Wells Fargo was overturned, even though it was actually the only part that was actually overturned. They upheld the ruling, but they only said that the amount that he would have been required to pay was above the means that it should have been, right? It was too much money. But the ruling itself was upheld, but he told everyone that the whole case was thrown out and that he was obviously was telling the truth. These are
You
just
said a
ones
lot.
that I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, can we agree upon one thing? Actually, can we agree upon two things? Both parties lie.
And what do you get out of saying that?
Because sometimes you have to pick one, correct?
No, you don't have to. When somebody is the
Well,
sitting active president of the United States of
well,
America, you are not
let me.
required to continue to support them in any way, shape, or form.
Let me rephrase that question. That statement. You cannot pick either, or you could pick, somebody that's never going to win, or you pick somebody that you stand behind what they stand behind more. So I have to choose somebody, correct? Realistically, if I want my vote to count, I have.
Oh, no, but I
one
don't think
vote.
you're
It goes
understanding.
to the left
I'm
or it
talking
goes
about
to the
still
right.
actively supporting him. There is nothing, yeah, when you're voting, you have to make a choice, or you can just abstain from voting. In no way, shape,
Yeah,
or form do you have to choose between two people that somebody has to win, right? You don't have to choose between them. There are always additional candidates, and in 9 states, they recognize write-in ballots.
your vote is
You can
wasted.
vote for your actual morality or your belief system and stand behind your belief system. Because, I mean, I'm sorry, somebody that says like they had the lesser of two evil vote is absolutely ridiculous, because you had someone that is a 34 convicted count felon, right? Somebody that was civilly adjudicated for committing sexual assaults on someone, that has 33 cases of accusations of committing rape on women, specifically also women at younger ages, that admits on the Howard Stern show, brags about walking into the dressing rooms of Miss Teen USA and brags about them being in various stages of undress, right? Brags is recorded on a hot mic saying that he doesn't even wait. He just grabs women by the pussy. He doesn't even wait to kiss him. He just makes a move on them and calls women bitches in that same statement. What frame of mind is anything that Kamala Harris ever did that is on any of those levels that would make her the greater of two evils?
Let me ask you something.
Can you address what I just said?
Let me just ask you something. Because you asked me a lot of questions, so I want to ask you.
I actually just asked you one. I said, on what did Kamala Harris do, or that she was going to do, on what level that made her the greater of two evils compared to everything that Donald Trump has done?
I do not support her.
You just didn't support her. That wasn't my question. If the vote came down to a lesser of two evils, Donald Trump was the lesser of two evils compared to everything that he's done, everything that he's known to be. What on earth did Kamala Harris do or propose that made her the greater of two evils?
Well, we both know it's more than that. We both know how far the left and the right are apart from one another. Okay?
No, correct? Again, they're not. Unless, I'm sorry, on the global scale, the Democratic Party is center right. On the global scale, the Democratic Party is center right. So by your logic saying that they're so far apart from each other, then you have to acknowledge that on the global scale right now, the Republican Party is far right. If you want to say that they are so far away from each other, then you would have to acknowledge two things on the global scale. On the global scale, the Democratic Party is center right. And that also means that the Republican Party is far right if they are so far away from each other.
No.
No.
No, I don't agree.
No. Just, I don't agree.
No, it's
No.
one side super far left and one side super far right. I'm not
They're
agreeing with that.
not. They're not.
They are.
Tell me where in the 2024 campaign did Kamala Harris talk about universal health care? She didn't. Tell me where in the 2024 campaign did she talk about taking away guns? She didn't. She talked about an AWB, an assault weapons ban. Okay. Tell me where on the 2024 campaign did she talk about mandating paid maternity leave for women? She didn't. Tell me where on the 2024 campaign did she talk about raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour? She didn't. Tell me where on the 2024 campaign did she talk about what would be considered leftist issues? She didn't. That's why leftist people actually threw away their vote and voted third party as a protest vote because she was stifled by the Democratic Party in changing her prior beliefs, which were actually far left and progressive. And why people threw away their vote and why we saw 6 million voters go to the freaking independents.
Did she stand behind funding sex change surgeries for prisoners?
Oh, what was her quote? She said, "I will follow the law." And I admit that it was a bad quote because she didn't fully explain it. But see, there was actually already a law that was passed and went into effect under Donald Trump's administration. So when he was the sitting president of the United States of America, that funded sex change surgeries for prisoners, that there only was one case ever recorded of a sex change for a prisoner covered by federal money, and that was under Donald Trump's administration. So when she said, "I would follow the law," just like Donald Trump did in his administration, that's what she meant. Wow, so great that none of y'all fucking listened or did your research afterwards.
Was she or was she not the vice president when millions of illegal immigrants came into this country as the borders were open?
How many? She was the vice president. That is true.
Okay.
Now, here's going to be the two-part question. What are the duties of the vice president as per the Constitution of the United States? And then tell me how many millions of illegal immigrants came into the country and what are your sources?
My sources?
I want you, though, this is two parts. So let's start with the first one, okay?
My sources
What are the
I live
constitutional duties of the vice president of the United States?
to stand behind the president of the United States.
No. What are the constitutional duties of the vice president of the United States?
I just told you what I believe the answer is.
No, then you're wrong. So I would have more respect for if you just said that you don't know. So there's really just two. They're the president of the Senate, so they are the tie-breaking vote of the Senate. If it ever is an even 50-50 split, it has to be exactly 50-50 for a tie-breaking vote to come into effect, okay? So they are the tie-breaking vote in the Senate. And then they're the heartbeat. So they are the next person in line if anything happens to the president of the United States. That is their constitutional duties. They have no authoritative power in the branch of government. They can't tell someone to lock down the border. That is literally something that has to be done by the president of the United States because, sorry, vice presidents can't sign executive orders. Only the president can. Just like vice presidents can't sign congressional bills to be passed into law, only the president of the United States can. So literally when somebody likes to make the claim that she was the vice president, she allowed all of these millions of immigrants into the country, there's literally no way she can. She has no authority over the border. Literally none. So now let's go on to the next question since I've had to answer the first one for you. How many millions of immigrants came into the country, or sorry, illegal immigrants as you are calling them, and then tell me your source. Where'd you get the number?
I don't have an exact number. I just could open my eyes and look around.
Okay. Well, see, I actually live in a border state and I didn't see all of these millions of immigrants. So you're wrong. What do we do now? My eyes are open. I'm in a border state. I'm actually probably closer to the southern border than you are. So now what do we do? My eyes are open,
Well,
and I didn't see
sorry to
what you
tell you.
did.
Did you not witness or at least see videos? Because I live that. Of the
if
hotels
I'm sorry, do you think that
filled.
if you saw a video of somebody crossing the border, you think that the person recording it or anyone else that saw it,
No,
you
no,
think
no,
that
no,
the
no. I'm
person
not talking.
recording it was the only person to see that video?
We all saw the hotels loaded in Manhattan with illegal
Oh,
immigrants.
perfect. I love this one too. Okay. So loaded in Manhattan. So these people were what? They were all illegal immigrants? They weren't
Correct.
supposed to be here? Yes, they weren't supposed to be here. Also, guys, friendly reminder over on YouTube, since the chat is flying off the fucking hook right now. You guys are chatting it up. We do have super chats and memberships available. Consider being one. Also, hit that subscribe button up at the top. I'm very bad at doing my own PSAs, so forgive me. I've been live for a hot minute and haven't done one. Okay. So, how did immigrants get to cities like New York City from the southern
They
border?
bust them in. They bust them in.
Who bust them in? Who bust them to New York City?
The government.
The government?
Yeah.
Interesting. So what you're telling me is if I Google who busts immigrants from the southern border to New York City, it's going to tell me the federal government of the United States of America.
I'm sorry to tell you, everything's not on Google.
Oh, so what am I going to see if I Google that?
You could Google whatever you'd like. I saw it with my own eyes. That's the difference.
Oh, you saw it with your own eyes from New Jersey?
First of all, I'm in New Jersey, New York. I live in both.
Uh-huh. You saw it
But yes,
with
I
you
saw it
saw
with my own
buses of immigrants drive by you in New Jersey, New York.
No.
Then
I
how did
saw
you
the
see it with
hotel.
your own
I
eyes?
saw the hotels that would stop you from coming in at the door.
They
that
would stop
normally
you
would
from
allow
coming
you
in
to
at
come
the door.
Yes. Yes. If you
Yeah.
came in and recorded with your camera, they'd stop you.
Cool. So I'm going to help you out with something. So, what we actually know, and this is a provable fact because 2 governors actually brag about putting immigrants on buses and sending them to sanctuary cities like New York, like Los Angeles, like Chicago, right? That's Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis. So when we consider that, and you're agreeing that all of these immigrants that were bused specifically, at least to New York City, they were all illegal immigrants, right? They weren't supposed to be here. They were undocumented. They had no paperwork.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Awesome. And you would agree that human trafficking is a federal crime, right?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again? You broke up.
Is human trafficking a federal crime?
Correct.
Correct. All right. And so let's try this again. So if an individual citizen, let's say myself, right, is transporting an illegal immigrant across state lines, multiple state lines, in fact, for all the way from Texas all the way up to New York City, that would fall under human trafficking, correct?
Incorrect.
Why is that incorrect? Why would that not fall under human trafficking if they're illegal immigrants and I'm busing them across the country?
How is that human trafficking?
You just said that busing illegal immigrants across the country, across state lines, was
not
human
the first
trafficking.
question you asked me.
That is actually the first question I asked you. I asked you first, is human trafficking a federal offense? And then I asked you, is moving illegal immigrants across federal lines a human trafficking offense? And you said yes. And so then I gave you a scenario where I'm the individual that's putting illegal immigrants in the car behind me and taking them across state lines from, let's say, Texas to New York City. And now it's no longer a felony or a crime? Why?
Because you asked me if human trafficking is a felony. I said yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you asked me if busing illegal immigrants across the border to New York.
No, I didn't say across the border. I said from states like Texas all the way to New York City was human trafficking, and you said yes, and you agreed with me. So we've substantiated that
Well,
human
these people,
trafficking
these
is in
people
fact
weren't.
a
These
felony.
people, these
We
people, these
substantiated that
people weren't
moving
taking.
illegal immigrants
No, no,
across
no, no,
the
no.
country falls under human trafficking. So moving illegal immigrants across the country would fall
No,
under human trafficking. I'm sorry. Is Kilmer Abrego Garcia, yes or no? Not is he being tried right now and has charges against him in Tennessee for human trafficking because he was moving illegal immigrants across state lines?
there's a way. First of all,
No.
there's
This is a simple yes or no question. Is Kilmer Abrego Garcia currently facing charges in the state of Tennessee for human trafficking at the accusation that he had 8 or 9 illegal immigrants in his van moving them across state lines? Yes or no?
unwill. They were there against their will.
Is he They didn't say if it was against their will or not. That's not the question. Let's try this again. Okay. Are the charges that are against Kilmer Abrego Garcia right now in Tennessee for human trafficking at the accusation that he was trying to move illegal immigrants, 8 or 9 of them in his van across state lines? That he was committing human trafficking per Pam Bondi?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Fantastic. So now let's try this again in my scenario, okay? I am the individual that's driving a bus full of illegal immigrants from Texas to New York City. Is that human trafficking?
No.
Why not?
Because those people were put on those buses, and they wanted to be on those buses.
And
They
so
knew
did
what
the
was
people in
happening to them.
Kilmer Abrego Garcia's van. See,
You don't know
gosh,
that.
what? How? I'm sorry. So wait. So the want of people on the buses makes up the whole difference. Where can we find all of these people that were in Kilmer Abrego Garcia's van that we knew that they didn't want to be there? Were those people
Because
presented
you're
as
asking,
evidence?
you're
Were they
asking me.
presented as
You're,
witnesses? Sorry, we don't know what their want was in the
you're
van.
asking
Are
me
you?
if those people were human trafficked. The answer is no.
This is so. Is this the level of pretzeling that we have to go into now? That you can't even acknowledge that if we agreed that human trafficking, if you were going to make the claim that their want was a part of the issue, you would have made that claim in my first 2 questions when I asked you if human trafficking was a felony, and then if an illegal immigrant being trafficked from Texas all the way up to New York
said
City
no.
fell
I said
under.
no to
You
the
said
second
yes,
question.
dude. You said
No, I never
yes.
did.
You said yes, that those
I'm
people
sorry, but
were
that didn't
human
happen.
trafficked.
No.
Because you
Never
don't know what
suggested
human
that question.
trafficking was. Okay? So let's be clear. If you are going to say that the government bussed all of these illegal immigrants to sanctuary cities like New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, right? If the government did that and they were all illegal immigrants, that falls under human trafficking. But what we actually know is that governors Greg Abbott of Texas, Ron DeSantis of Florida, openly acknowledged that they were busing immigrants out of their states to sanctuary cities after they received federal money to keep them there and house them there. And then they kept that money and sent them to other cities, specifically New York City, where fucking Eric Adams, who is a piece of shit in general, but still has open lawsuits against Greg Abbott for him not telling them that they were sending busloads of individuals to their state that, mind you, were all legal asylum seekers. They're not illegal immigrants, sir, because if they were illegal immigrants, sir, that means that Governor Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis would have to face felony indictment charges of human trafficking of illegal immigrants that were put on buses in fucking handcuffs. Meaning they didn't want to be there. And ankle monitors, meaning they didn't want to be there. So where are the charges against Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis for human trafficking? If all of these immigrants that were sent to New York City, where are those charges for human trafficking? From Pam Bondi.
I still haven't agreed with you about the human trafficking thing, so.
Because you're dense as fuck. You have no critical thinking skills. You've proven that. I'm done with you. Like, oh my fucking God. I should not have turned it back on, but 1 second.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling the MAGA support hotline. Are you there?
What's up? How you doing?
Doing well. How old are you?
I am 24.
Awesome. Are you still supporting Trump?
Say again?
Are you supporting Donald Trump?
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. Can you admit that he's lying to you in his current
ma'am.
administration? No?
No.
Damn. What's wrong with you?
Can you prove me wrong?
Yeah, I can prove a lot of things wrong. Just hold on a second. You got a little bit of patience going on right now?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. I'm going to read through a couple things. All right.
Can I ask you a question first?
No, you can wait.
Do you mind? Okay,
Bishop.
well, shut the fuck up.
Bishop, we'll go through that.
Bitch. You're a fucking hoe. You're a fucking hoe, you whore. You stupid ass bitch. You think you know everything. You fucking don't. You're a freaking ugly ass bitch. You look like a fucking troll.
Oh, and you sound like a little child. I would love for you to put your face on some kind of camera. Show me what you look like, sweetie pie. Since apparently your boyfriend is too much of a little pussy to say it himself, that he has to get his girlfriend to come up on the line to call me a stupid little bitch because he's a little pussy and can't say it himself with all of his big balls that he's got in his fucking pants, right? So while you wear the balls on your chest, which I would assume that they're probably, you know what, I'll give you credit, they're probably at least a C cup, and I'm sure you sound very lovely based off of the sound of your voice. I love how women don't support women in today's society. You are case in point, sweetie pie, because you want to come up here and denigrate another woman just because of the fact that she's speaking out against the president of the United States, all because what, it gets your panties in a little bit of a twist? I'm sorry, try going commando maybe, and then you wouldn't have to worry about your panties getting in a little bit of a twist. I don't know what your issue is. Honey, it sounds like both of you need therapy. I suggest that you guys go to separate therapists because he's going to come after you. She hung up, just so you guys know. One of them hung up. I don't know what was said, but one of them hung up. Let me be clear. Why do women, okay, specifically in this case, right? Why do women let their boyfriends determine that they're going to attack another woman and denigrate her? Why? Why? Why is that okay? Gas under $2 is a pretty easy to verify lie. Yes, it's not under $2. This was for the last caller, but for Pete's sake, can any caller come up with something more original than everybody lies? Dr. House already stressed that. Oh, that's so funny. That was funny. Gabriel, I don't want your prayers. Are there on Earth? I don't know what that. Are they on Earth? They're not on Earth. They're not on Earth. And yes, another one is correct. Governor Greg Abbott, it was to blame for the buses. And no, they have no clue. Okay.
You're awesome.
They do another one. That was my whole fucking point. Women that are out there, stop letting your man, I'm sorry, if he's doing this to you, let me be very clear, women. It is not a man that you are dealing with. It is a child. It is a little boy. It is a boy that has not reached his full maturity yet at the age of, I don't know, how old did that kid say, 24? That was not actually mature. So he still had the mindset of a 12-year-old. Let me be very clear, women. If there is a man that is sicking you against another woman, then he is not a man. His maturity level is showing, and he is in fact a little boy in his brain. And so therefore, break up with him. He's not worth your time, nor is he worth your effort. If a man cheats on you, it is his fault and his fault alone. Don't go after the other woman, go after the man. And I'm sorry, if someone is able to steal your man from him, then he wasn't yours to start with. Okay? I don't know what that woman was trying to do when she got up there and she just thought she was, being cute the whole time? That's fine, darling. If that's what you have to do in order to keep your man, then keep going after them or grow the fuck up. Get some maturity. The Google definition, sorry, it's not a Google definition, it would be the legal definition of human trafficking. I'm sorry, you guys don't know anything. I don't know what people are doing. It's literally impossible for me to point at people, Kevin. I'm pointing at a camera. Thank you for calling the MAGA support hotline. Are you there?
Yeah.
Awesome. How old are you?
36. I had to think
36.
about it. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Awesome. And are you willing and able, or sorry, are you still supporting Donald Trump?
I support Donald Trump. Yeah.
Okay. Are you able to admit that Donald Trump is actively lying to you in his current administration?
I mean, I feel like most politicians do. I don't feel like it's mutually exclusive to Donald Trump, but
So what do you, when I ask you specifically about Donald Trump lying, what do you get out of saying that most politicians do?
well, I kind of qualify myself as mainly a centrist and constitutionalist, but like it really comes down to how the constituents feel about the outcome of things. You know what I mean? Like in terms of popular vote and stuff like that. But most politicians do lie. Like that's kind of the game. Like it's little white lies and bends of the truth on every side. Like you got to get ahead somehow. Like that's literally kind of like what politics is. And I only say that because like I'm from Chicago, which is like super duper corrupt in terms of its politics. Like it's literally why it's called the Windy City. But I mean, it's just a common thing across politics. So I don't think it's mutually exclusive to Donald Trump. I think that a lot of presidents have lied about things. I mean, you can go back as far as you can, and almost every president has lied about something, or administration has lied about something, or covered something up. And it's just a matter about exposing it and getting to the actual truth, because you got to shine a light on all of these things so that people have an informed decision. You know what I mean?
So let's so where do you get, like, what do you get out of deflecting away from acknowledging that Donald Trump is lying?
No, I didn't say that.
No, you.
I said everyone lies.
Yeah. No, I don't think you understand.
I'm totally fine with saying that Donald Trump and his administration lies.
So when you
Because
when you
every
say,
administration lies.
I want to be clear with you. When you say something like, well, everyone lies, that is not only a deflection, but it's excusing the action.
No, not at all. I completely disagree. I think that it's mainly just pointing out a fact of life, and I mean, if I'm happy to discuss what Donald Trump's lied about, but I mean, I'm happy to discuss what everyone else has lied about too. It's not mutually exclusive, is all I'm saying. And And to hyper focus it on one individual, I think, is kind of detrimental to the entire conversation.
Who's the president of the United States of America?
Currently, Donald Trump.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, but I feel like hyper focusing it on one person, especially when like terms are finite. You know what I mean? They're not infinite. So to not take context into it, like in terms of like history on many different issues, especially a broad issue like the government lying to you, like I mean, I just feel like that's not necessarily the best way to approach it, and it's fine that you feel the way you do. I'm not disagreeing with you at all or anything, and you're totally allowed to have the opinions you have. But I just feel like in context, it's better to take a broad stroke at this when it comes to governmental lying than a hyper focused one, because that almost seems divisive.
It's not. So, and I'll explain why in just a second, why I disagree with you,
Yeah,
why it's not
yeah,
divisive.
go ahead.
Thank you, Amber, for the 9.99. She said, "I wish you good luck with this crowd, and I think you should keep this short to protect your peace and limit your exposure. I only go live for
Yeah,
2 hours a day,
literally,
Amber.
like, good luck
Um,
with this crowd, for
money
real.
for a moderator. So we do have there are moderators in the chat. But I do
Oh, cool.
appreciate that. I just want to be clear, Amber, if you feel like this crowd is too extra, there is a landscape crowd that is much better. Okay, and I'll get to yours in just a second, another one. So the reason why I have this particular one, and I bring up the fact, and it's not even a divisive issue, right? I think that politicians lying should never be considered divisive, right? So, but
Right.
the point is he is the sitting acting president of the United States of America. He is the one in power. Currently, we have a Republican majority Congress. We have a Republican majority Supreme Court of the United States that is constantly having shadow ruling, shadow dockets of constantly looking to overturn nationwide injunctions or injunctions that are placed against the administration, all because Donald Trump is asking them to, with very little description or explanation on why they are overturning these injunctions, right? So we have two branches of government that are giving away their powers to the president of the United States, while the president of the United States is actively lying to the American populace. And I think that the important thing to also point out here is that not only is Donald Trump lying, but a lot of his lies are harmful, not only to the American people, but also to the world, right? Because unfortunately people don't do research. So, for example,
I
a
agree.
harmful lie is going to be the fact that he said that his administration isn't going to touch or no one's going to lose access to Medicaid, Medicare, or Social Security, when in fact there are cuts to all of those programs within H.R. 1, aka the One Big Beautiful Bill.
Right. Right.
That is a
Yeah,
harmful
and
lie.
I completely agree that, like, as a sitting active president, like, it should not be acceptable if a sitting active president lies. Period. Like, that's not okay for the American public, because it's really like they all work for us. You know what I mean? And for them to kind of be that way is absolutely not okay. But I guess my main question would be, like, it just seems like it's a very specific thing. Like, I only tuned in for a few minutes before I called in, and I apologize. It's because I was going to
It's
drive.
okay.
But it just seems like it was a very specific, very, very specific thing, and I just feel like everybody, no matter where they stand on any issue, regardless, should just keep that same energy regardless of who is in charge, because we got to hold our politicians accountable. And the only way to do that is to shine light on it and to stand together on these sorts of issues. And between lying and media and hype and all this kind of BS, it really does kind of get divisive for everybody, And, like, I think pretty much all the last few presidents, like, were not that great. They were not that great. They all made change and they made things happen, but and maybe that's just a product of my age and the fact that I wasn't around in the 60s, because a lot of political turmoil happened in the 60s, and we weren't around for that kind of stuff. understandably, because we weren't born. But at the same time, we got to take that kind of stuff into consideration, because right now we're facing the most political turmoil and division that we've had in a country since the
Yeah. And guess
1960s.
who's not doing anything to make it better? He
Nobody,
actually
nobody up
No,
top is wanting
it's
to make it
no, I'm
better.
sorry. The president of the United States has a direct responsibility to defuse situations. And instead of
Correct.
defusing situations, he goes up on Fox News, and when he's asked, "How do we bring the country back together?" he says, "I'm going to catch a lot of heat for this one, and honestly, I don't care. The right is the far right extremists, they don't go to violence, but the far left extremists, all they do is they go to violence, and I don't think that we should have to sit down with them." Even
Yeah,
though,
that's
sorry,
not right.
there
You're
are
absolutely right. That's not right. Like,
it
you shouldn't be divisive like that. But
exactly.
at the
And then
same
what
time,
does former
I feel
President
like
Obama do? What was his response to it? He says specifically that the crime that was committed on Charlie Kirk should have never happened, and no one should ever die because they're utilizing their free speech, right? And what does Donald
absolutely.
Trump do instead? He says he's literally today, when he was about to get onto Air Force One leaving the United Kingdom, he says to a reporter that he is going to go after these far left broadcast companies to prevent them from streaming anything negatively about him again, because because all they have going for them is talking badly about Donald Trump and just reporting on the news. And
Which
so
is
you
wild.
say
That's
he's
wild to me. That's
and
wild to me.
but he said it. He
Right,
said it on
right.
live
But do
television.
you think that he was almost being like a troll though? Do you think that he was
No.
trying to make the left free speech advocates because of how people have felt so long about like the media and stuff? Because if you go back to even like 2024, 2023, there were people calling for like, hey, it's okay that these people got canceled and shut down and stuff. And I don't feel right about any of that, because I feel like everyone should have an opinion and everyone should be able to express their view, as long as it ain't, calling for action, right?
Why is it
Or
okay for the president of the United States, the
no, it's not.
highest office, to
It's not.
troll?
It's not.
Then don't
It's not.
excuse it. Then don't even
It's
ask,
not.
do you think that he's just trolling? That sounds like you're excusing it when you ask that question. Let's not excuse the action. Let's not excuse the clear First Amendment violation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And me being a constitutionalist, like, I do not support the fact that any sort of speech is being censored whatsoever. I don't think that's okay.
Then why are you still supporting Donald Trump?
It's because of the overall outcome compared to, like, okay,
The
listen, there's
dismantling
old
of our United States
no,
Constitution?
okay. Let me put it to you this way. There are old liberals, okay, that have never changed their opinion. They're 70 years old and they're liberal, okay? They never change their opinion. They find themselves floating more and more towards the right. And I feel like it's just because the left keeps pushing further to the left, so the center keeps moving further to the right. And I'm just seeing this as from an outside perspective. Because I vote for anybody that is going to stand up for my constitutional rights and uphold the Constitution and protect America. That's it.
Then you should have
That's what
never
I believe.
voted for Donald Trump when he admitted on the
What was
campaign
for
trail
what?
that he was going to
What was the
violate the
alternative,
Constitution.
though? The problem is we're always stuck between a rock and a hard place. There's never really a great, like, if you
No.
take all
Did
the
you
people
not
in the
see the
United
I'm
States.
sorry. Did you see the interview where he sat down? I can't remember which host it was, but he sat down and he was specifically asked if he was required to follow Supreme Court rulings, which the duty of the Supreme Court is to interpret the letter of the Constitution and apply it
Right,
to law,
checks and
right?
balances. Yeah.
And what Donald Trump said, I don't know. I'd have to ask my lawyers. And the reporter pressed him and was like, what do you mean you don't know? You're the president of the United States. I don't know. That's a question for my attorneys. He doesn't even know if he has to follow the Supreme Court rulings when they rule against him, specifically in immigration, when they rule against him, when they're interpreting the letter of the law and applying it to the United States Constitution. He is blatantly saying that him, as the president of the United States, somehow forgets his oath to uphold and protect the United States Constitution by saying that he doesn't know if he has to follow what the Supreme Court of the United States says. And then not only that, but J.D. Vance goes out on national television himself and says that him and the President of the United States do not have to listen to the Supreme Court of the United States of America.
What issue is that regards to? What was the Supreme Court ruling you're referring to?
There's been multiple, so I think in that one specifically, it was about being required to facilitate the return of Kilmer Abrego Garcia.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And
that was
also the fact
whole
that
situation was
they
fucked.
could not swiftly commit deportations because it was a violation of due process, which they're still
Oh,
ignoring to this day, and they're committing
I mean,
swift deportations
okay, so
and ignoring their right to
this
habeas
comes
corpus.
down to like a basic legal question: is that is due process exclusively for citizens of the United States in the legal
No.
process or not?
No, it is not. It has been determined by 6 Supreme Court rulings, technically 7 if you include Christy Nome versus Kilmer Abrego Garcia, right? That they've reaffirmed and upheld that all individuals, regardless of citizenship, because it says no person in the 14th Amendment, okay, they are entitled to due process of the law according to the United States Constitution, and that has been reaffirmed in 6 previous SCOTUS rulings.
You know, there may be some things that you and I don't see exactly eye to eye to, but it gives me tingles knowing that I'm talking to somebody that knows their shit. Thank you.
Bro, I'm just
This
saying,
is actually a productive discourse. It's refreshing.
yeah, I'm just saying, anyone that, especially someone that's considers themselves to be a constitutionalist, right? That says they are still supporting Donald Trump is ignoring his blatant disregard for the Constitution. I mean, he
It's not
literally
that.
wrote an executive
It's
order.
that I'm recognizing the blatant disregard of the opponent of the Constitution more, and I have to pick the worst of the less of two evils.
But that's when you voted. You don't have to still say you're supporting him.
Well, but the thing is I'm an American citizen, and as an American citizen, you don't have to agree with the administration, but you should always support your country, and that
No.
includes just being like, you know what, that's my president. Like if you were in England and you were with your president, whether if you were with Obama and someone came up to him and say, hey, motherfucker, like you'd defend him. You know, you'd be like, hey, chill out. You know, and it's the same kind of thing. Like we're all Americans at the end of the day. Like we can agree or disagree, but we're all American citizens, you know, and as long as we can all try to make everybody's life better, that's all it comes down to, you know. Like realistically, government should get the hell out of our lives to begin with, you know, but you know, the Tea Party obviously failed. You know, they tried to eliminate big government, and they're trying to do it again, but in a way where it's such a politically charged environment at this point that anytime you try to eliminate anything, it's gonna piss somebody off. And mainly due to social media and the internet, you're gonna hear from the vocal minority more than the majority, and that does influence that algorithm, which pushes it in front of more people. You know, so at the end of the day, we can agree or disagree, but we all got to try and make America a great place. That's what we're here for. This is our country. We want it to be awesome. That's it, right?
Yeah,
It's just
and
how we get there, I think, is the disagreement.
I
How we
feel like
actually
I
end
might
up.
blow your mind here. Okay. And
I
I
want.
say this in the nicest way that I can.
No, I want it. I want you to blow my mind.
You can support the United States of America as a country. That support does not require you to also therefore support the President of the United States. Similarly
Correct.
enough, not supporting the President of the United States does not mean that you are wishing for the administration to fail because you still want the country as a whole to succeed. So when I'm saying that, you voted for him, you don't have to stand by your vote and say that you still support him today, especially if you do some research, and you'll find that he has a blatant disregard for the Constitution of the United States of America, right? Like, if you do a little bit of research, he's ignoring the Constitution of the United States of America. It's similar enough that I always say I don't have to support the military, but I sure as fuck support the troops that are serving in our military and that served previously, right?
Oh, I 100% agree.
Right.
I
So
100%.
you can
I guess
apply that same
I guess my
concept.
sentiment would be more along the lines of like, I'm not sure how old you are.
I'm only a couple years younger than you.
Okay, so you were around for 9/11.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So you remember how it was on 9/11, where it was just like there was the Bush thing, there was the Gore, like everyone was kind of like all over the place on stuff, and then 9/11 happens, and then what happens? Everybody comes together as Americans. We're all American. We're all together. We're all so united that we actually gave up our rights as citizens to the government, with citizens, with that whole wiretap thing. You know what I mean? Like, and then we re-signed on that shit like 10 years later, which, by the way, terrible idea. But that's how united we were. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like me personally, in terms of government, I don't think big government's a good thing to begin with. But we all have to do better as people, and we all have to realize that we're all people, and we're all kind of in the same boat. You know what I mean? That's what it really comes down to. And I totally agree with you. You can support the troops, not support the military actions, right? Same thing with the government. You can support, a person but not the government, or the government but not a person. But at the same time, let me ask you, what is it that you felt about Joe Biden then?
On what specifically? Do you have an
As a
example?
just like as a racist or a person in general? Because like I've heard him say some really crazy shit. You know what I mean? And but then at the same time, I've seen Trump take pictures with like black activists and donate to historically black colleges and universities. But then I've had Biden almost at the same time, a couple years later, say like, maybe it was a faux pas. Either like poor kids are just as good as white kids or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's just like he says like he doesn't want his kids growing up in a racial jungle, and he like supported segregation and stuff. Like he signed a bill saying like he doesn't want people being bused over to like white schools. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah, so I'm going to help you out with
I
something.
don't agree with
That
I don't
is,
agree with that kind of stuff
let's
either.
be clear. Every white person in America is actively deconstructing their racism if they so choose to do so. We have a systemic racism issue within our country that every white person experiences.
Do you
And
think it's
now, let
inherent?
me be very clear, the busing thing that you're talking about, you're taking it wildly out of context. That's not what that was about.
Well, no,
You
he
also are
literally said,
taking
I
everything
don't
else
want an
wildly out
N-word
of
mayor.
context. Are you referring to a speech
Well,
that he
his
gave on the
quote.
Senate floor?
Well, his quote was, "I don't want an N-word mayor. I don't want my children growing up in
And
a
that's
racial
been
jungle."
debunked.
How? You think that's AI? It's from like 1970.
No, there's
Like,
no video of it, sir. This
yes,
is a
there is.
quote. Yeah, it's been debunked. You
Where?
think that like people can't make this shit up even now in
Hold on,
today's
hold on.
society?
No. Give me a source. I'm gonna look it right now. I'm gonna look it because I'm serious. Like I didn't think that was debunked. I'm gonna look it up right now for you, for real, because like I want to know, because that's fucking wild if it is. And then I'll 100% agree with you on that one. Like that's some bullshit then. But I guess sideways to that point though, like everybody's kind of a piece of shit. We're human beings, so like we kind of have to like take our poison in doses. You know what I'm saying? And as a society, we need to start realizing that we're not choosing the right people to represent us. And I don't know if that's because it's a public service thing and people that are really successful don't want to do it, or if it's because like us as a society, like we're set up the wrong way for our elections. But if you look at Americans as a whole, do you think we've ever chosen the best one out of everyone to lead us? Because I mean, I feel like we're just made to have two decisions, and those decisions are made by people that
So
aren't.
specifically, the busing bill was to stop busing being ordered by the Department of Education, because it's always been a thing that the Department of Education is not supposed to specifically order schools to do certain things in certain areas. So that's
Okay.
the part that he said that he opposed. Okay.
Why do you have to say racial jungle though?
I don't even see where he said racial jungle. Let's see.
I'll look it up.
Of course, the only ones that I can find at the top is the American Presidency Project, which is a right-wing organization, the Heritage Foundation, which is known to be a right-wing organization.
What about Yahoo.com?
Yahoo isn't a news source. They quote somebody else.
I wonder what their
So
source is.
claim, here's Snopes, claim during a U.S. Senate debate on busing racial desegregation in 1977. That is it. Let's see.
Dang, I wish I could find a good source. It's like when I type in that as a quote, like it's just like, oh, here's a bunch of bullshit. Okay, so fact check from USA Today. We can
Then
agree
a
on that, right?
U.S. allegedly expressed fear that desegregation, if not done in an orderly way, could result in his children growing up in a racial jungle with tensions having built up so high that it was going to explode at some point.
I don't want my children to grow up in a jungle, a racial jungle. The photo on the article is somewhat misleading.
The full quote reads, unless we do something about this, my children are going to grow up in a jungle, the jungle being a racial jungle with tensions having built up so high that it is going to explode at some point. We have got to make some move on this.
Yo, if you just said that as a quote out loud, though, and you said, who said this? Joe Biden or Donald Trump? How many people you think would say Donald Trump said that shit? It sounds wrong, doesn't it? I get
No,
it's a
because
product
I
of the
actually
time, but that
understand what
sounds
that
wrong.
means.
I understand what it means too, but like you got to understand the context of that. So if that were somebody like Donald Trump saying it, it would be blown out to the point where it's just like, oh my God, this is super racist, right? Because that's the perception, that's what's pushed, you know. And I just feel like it's the same thing with Jimmy Kimmel. Like everyone's all up in arms about Jimmy Kimmel getting canceled, and I'm so surprised he didn't get canceled before. He's part of the fucking Man Show. Have you ever seen the Man Show? Oh my God, he's done blackface on Paul Malone. He's done blackface on Oprah. He's motorboated chicks. I mean, I'm so surprised that he hasn't been canceled already. You know, but like they want to stretch back 20 years for other people. And I say they is just like people in general. It's like these internet sleuths or these internet trolls or something, man. And it's like, yeah, everyone should be accountable for their actions, but it should be equal across the board. That's all. It should just be an equal playing field for everybody. That includes people coming here illegally too. We should have an equal playing field. You know, my wife is actually a Canadian citizen. She was born in Canada, immigrated to the United States, and naturalized, and now is a dual citizen. Went through the whole process, and I know how difficult that can be. You know, but there's a reason that the process is there. You know, it's because like the reason people want to come to America isn't just because like we make money here. You can make money a lot of different places. You know what I mean? But they come here because America is the land of the free and the home of the brave. They like this. They like it here. They like having the freedom and the ability to do the things that we do here as people, having the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of expression, you know, public discourse, stuff like that. But the issue that we run into is we have people that come here that hate us. They don't like us as a country. I've seen it, and it's sad. It's sad because it's like, why do you come here to change things? Like you came here because you wanted to, right? Like you liked it here. So like, why would you come here to like change it like your country is what I'm saying. And we are a cesspool. And don't get me wrong, I love all the different cultures and foods and everything. Like I'm all about that. But at the end of the day, we're all Americans. And that's what we all have to come to agreement on. We're all Americans. We all need to make things better. That's it. But I really do appreciate this discourse. You're a very intelligent person, and I really do appreciate your opinions. And you're not. I will say you're not wrong about anything you say. Because it's all based in fact. So, I mean, good on you. You know your shit, and I appreciate this kind of discourse. It's unfortunate that like I seen another person that does something just like this. He got fucking murdered for it. It's very unfortunate. you know, and it sucks. It sucks that like we can't have conversations. But I really do appreciate your knowledge of things and your ferocity and your ability to eloquently make your points. So, although we might not see exactly eye to eye on every single point, I still appreciate you as a person, and I hope you have a great night. I've taken up enough of your time.
Yep. Just do better about who you support, man. You don't have to actively
Yeah,
support the sitting
hey,
president of the United
yeah,
States.
I know. I actively support America, and he's just our president. So it's like it feels weird.
Cool.
Like
I
it's almost like
support
you're part of a
America, and that's
social.
why I don't support Donald Trump.
I feel you. I feel you, and that's okay too. That's okay too.
All right.
You know.
Well, have a good night.
Yeah, you too, man. Have a great one.
Okay. Oh my fucking God. I was just very confused how we pivoted from calling Joe Biden a racist, walking it back, and then going all the way over to immigration and being slightly xenophobic. I appreciate other cultures, but why you gotta bring it here? For fuck's sake, that was why I made faces. Okay, I recommend fellow readers to read Critical Thinking, a book by Jonathan Haber. It serves to remind us what it truly means to think critically and not fall so easily for the easy answer. All I want is people to think critically. President Trump send MAGA to Capitol. All right, guys, I'm way over my time. Significantly over my time. That TikTok threw me off. Okay. I will see you guys Saturday. It may only be on YouTube and Twitch, so sorry TikTok users, we'll find out. I will see you guys on Saturday. Everybody else,